Chester William Nimitz was one of the most important figures in American naval history. As a fleet admiral of the United States Navy, he played a pivotal role in the Pacific theater during World War II, leading the U.S. naval forces to crucial victories that helped to turn the tide of the war. His leadership, strategic thinking, and calm demeanor made him a revered figure, and his contributions to the United States and the world are still remembered and respected today. Chester William Nimitz was born on February 24, 1885, in Fredericksburg, Texas, a small town in the Texas Hill Country. His father, Chester Bernard Nimitz, died before Chester was born, leaving his mother, Anna Josephine, to raise him. Chester's grandfather, Charles Henry Nimitz, a former seaman and hotelier, became a significant figure in his life, instilling in him the values of discipline and hard work. Growing up in a town far from the sea, Chester did not have the typical experiences that might lead a young man to a naval career. However, his grandfather's tales of the sea fascinated him, planting the seeds for his future. Nimitz excelled in school, showing an early aptitude for leadership and a keen interest in engineering and mechanics. At the age of 16, Nimitz applied to the United States Military Academy at West Point but found that there were no open appointments. Instead, he set his sights on the U.S. Naval Academy in Annapolis, Maryland, where he was accepted in 1901. Nimitz's time at the Naval Academy was challenging, but he proved to be an outstanding student, graduating 7th in his class of 114 in 1905. After graduating from the Naval Academy, Nimitz began his naval career with a 2-year stint at sea, which was a requirement for all new graduates. His first assignment was on the battleship USS Ohio. He quickly proved himself to be a capable and dedicated officer, earning the respect of his superiors. In 1907, Nimitz was promoted to ensign, a junior officer rank, and continued to serve in various roles aboard ships such as the USS Baltimore and the USS Panay. He also spent time learning about the emerging technology of submarines, which was still in its infancy at the time. His interest in submarines would shape much of his early career. Nimitz's first command came in 1909 when he was assigned as the captain of the USS Plunger, an early submarine. His time in command of the Plunger and other submarines was marked by innovation and learning, as he and his crew worked to understand and improve the performance of these new vessels. His work in submarines earned him recognition as a leading expert in the field, and he was soon given command of the entire 1st Submarine Flotilla of the Atlantic Fleet. During these early years, Nimitz developed the leadership style that would later define his career. He was known for his calm and composed demeanor, even in the face of adversity. Nimitz believed in leading by example, always showing respect for his men and valuing their input. He also understood the importance of clear communication and careful planning, traits that would serve him well in the high-pressure situations he would later face. In 1913, Nimitz was sent to the Far East, where he commanded the gunboat USS Panay on the Yangtze River in China. This assignment was part of the U.S. Navy's efforts to protect American interests in the region during a time of political instability. Nimitz's experience in Asia broadened his understanding of international affairs and the strategic importance of the Pacific region. When the United States entered World War I in 1917, Nimitz was serving as the executive officer of the cruiser USS Maumee. His responsibilities included ensuring the safe transport of troops and supplies across the Atlantic, a critical task in the war effort. After the war, Nimitz continued to rise through the ranks, taking on various important assignments. In the years between World War I and World War II, Nimitz's career continued to flourish. He held several key positions, including a stint as Chief of Staff to the Commander of the Submarine Force, Atlantic Fleet, and later as the Assistant Chief of the Bureau of Navigation in Washington, D.C. These roles gave him a broader perspective on naval operations and further honed his leadership skills. As tensions in Europe and the Pacific began to escalate in the late 1930s, Nimitz was promoted to the rank of Rear Admiral and took on increasingly significant roles in the U.S. Navy. In 1940, He was appointed as the commander of Battleship Division 1 of the Pacific Fleet, a key position as the United States prepared for the possibility of war. When Japan attacked Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941, the United States was thrust into World War II, and Nimitz's life would change forever. In the aftermath of the attack, President Franklin D. Roosevelt appointed Nimitz as the Commander-in-Chief of the Pacific Fleet, replacing Admiral Husband E. Kimmel, who had been relieved of his command. Taking command in the wake of such a devastating attack was a daunting task, but Nimitz approached it with his characteristic calm and determination. He quickly set about rebuilding the fleet and planning a strategy to defeat Japan. Nimitz understood that the war in the Pacific would be a long and challenging campaign, and he focused on the importance of logistics, communication, and intelligence in achieving victory. One of Nimitz's most significant achievements during World War II was his leadership in the Battle of Midway in June 1942. This battle is often considered the turning point in the Pacific War. Through a combination of skillful planning, decisive action, and a bit of luck, the U.S. Navy was able to deliver a crushing blow to the Japanese fleet, sinking 4 of their aircraft carriers. Nimitz's decision to take a calculated risk by engaging the Japanese fleet at Midway was a testament to his strategic acumen. The victory at Midway shifted the balance of power in the Pacific and marked the beginning of the U.S. Navy's advance toward Japan. Nimitz's leadership during this critical battle earned him widespread acclaim and solidified his reputation as one of the greatest naval commanders in history. Following the victory at Midway, Nimitz oversaw the island-hopping campaign, a strategy that involved capturing key islands in the Pacific and using them as bases to launch further attacks against Japan. This strategy allowed the U.S. forces to bypass heavily fortified Japanese positions and move closer to the Japanese mainland. Under Nimitz's leadership, the U.S. Navy and Marine Corps conducted a series of successful amphibious assaults, including the battles of Guadalcanal, Tarawa, Saipan, and Iwo Jima. These victories came at a high cost, but they were essential in breaking Japan's defensive perimeter and bringing the war closer to an end. As the war neared its conclusion, Nimitz played a key role in the planning and execution of the final operations against Japan. He worked closely with General Douglas MacArthur, who commanded the ground forces in the Pacific, to coordinate the final push toward Japan. Nimitz's focus on joint operations between the Navy, Army, and Air Force ensured that the U.S. military could apply maximum pressure on Japan from all directions. In the summer of 1945, Nimitz was promoted to the rank of Fleet Admiral, the highest rank in the U.S. Navy. His leadership and contributions to the war effort were widely recognized, and he was hailed as one of the principal architects of the Allied victory in the Pacific. On September 2, 1945, Nimitz was present aboard the battleship USS Missouri in Tokyo Bay when Japan formally surrendered, bringing an end to World War II. As the senior U.S. Navy representative, Nimitz signed the surrender documents on behalf of the United States, marking the culmination of his years of service and leadership. After the war, Nimitz continued to serve as Chief of Naval Operations, the highest-ranking officer in the U.S. Navy, until his retirement in 1947. During this time, he focused on rebuilding the Navy in the post-war period, advocating for the development of new technologies, including nuclear submarines and aircraft carriers, that would ensure the Navy's continued dominance in the years to come. In retirement, Nimitz remained active in public service, contributing to various military and educational organizations. He also worked on his memoirs, reflecting on his long and distinguished career. Nimitz was widely respected not only for his military achievements but also for his humility, integrity, and commitment to service. Chester W. Nimitz passed away on February 20, 1966, just days before his 81st birthday. He was buried with full military honors at Golden Gate National Cemetery in San Bruno, California, alongside other naval heroes. His legacy lives on in the many ships, buildings, and institutions that bear his name, as well as in the lasting impact of his leadership on the U.S. Navy in the world. Nimitz's life story is a testament to the power of dedication, perseverance, and the belief in the greater good. His contributions during one of the most challenging periods in world history continue to inspire future generations of leaders. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed learning about Chester W. Nimitz and want to hear more fascinating stories from history, please like this video and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us bring you more content about the remarkable individuals who have shaped our world.